Louisiana's growing entertainment industry, probably from seeing classy television shows such as Sons of Guns and Swamp People, like my friend Nick enjoys to watch. But that's due to the tax incentives, such as the film and television tax incentives that have been established for over a decade in Louisiana. Well, more recently, in 2007, Louisiana implemented a live performance tax incentive focused on musical productions and touring concerts in the state. Well, in 2010, New Orleans welcomed their first musical production of this type, the musical production of the Addams Family, which many of you are probably aware of. Unfortunately for the Addams Family, though, when they came to Louisiana, they experienced many delays along the process of getting reimbursed by the state, or so we were told. This brings us to our client, the New Orleans Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy, which they don't seem to be here right now, but I'm sure they're busy with Mardi Gras or something, which seems to be kind of a big deal right now. Anyways, they asked us to, first their mission is to boost revenue and employment in the city of Louisiana by attracting these live performance musicals and touring concerts, and to follow the application process from the application to reception of the tax credit of the tax reimbursement, as they did in the case of the Addams Family. Now, Louisiana, or the New Orleans Mayor's Office, asked us to conduct a comprehensive review of the live performance tax incentive and outline the application process in order to identify where the problems arose for the Addams Family and to mitigate those in the future. Now, this information can be communicated to the state officials in an attempt to mitigate that at the state level in the statutes and the laws. But also, the New Orleans Mayor's Office hoped to conduct a marketing plan they could market to future applicants and mitigate misleading them ever or misguiding them along the tax incentive process, which happened to the Addams Family, unfortunately. Now, let's take a look at the application process, which was intended to be as simple and straightforward as the film tax incentive program that state and city officials have become very familiar with over the years. Step 1, eligibility. Eligibility of the applicant is determined by the Louisiana Office of Economic Development, or the LED, and it's based on initial application and an estimated cost analysis of their expenditure. Step 2, the production is complete. The applicant resubmits final cost expenditure report to the LED for auditing. And based on the auditing of the expenditures, the LED certifies a specific amount of tax credit the applicant can use to offset their tax liability in the state. Now, step 3, once final approval or the final application has been submitted to the LED submits that estimated tax credit and the application to the Louisiana Department of Revenue, or the LDR, in step 3. And the LDR finally approves the application and the expenditure before issuing a check to the applicant.
All right, thanks, Connor. So let's go over and see what actually happened with the Addams Family. So after conducting a bunch of interviews with city and state officials, outlining what happened with the Addams Family, we came to the conclusion that they didn't have a delay in the application process. The problem was that the way that the statute was written for the live performance versus the film tax credits precluded the entity from filing a entity tax return at the end of the year, whereas for partnerships, okay, let me start over. So the partnerships, okay, so LLCs for tax credits and film are set up much the same. However, there's a point in the process where you have to elect a checkbox that says whether you want to designate yourself as either a partnership or a corporation and treat it as for tax purposes. With regards to that, there's a special key exemption when it comes to the film tax credits that allows the entity to file only one single tax return, as opposed to a partnership, which for the live performance tax credits, which require each individual limited partner as a part of the production to file an individual tax return which include CPA fees and other associated costs for auditing, which does not make it economical in the long run, especially in the case of Adams Family, where there were 72 limited partners and only $350,000 in tax credit that was approved. So from this, we found out the underlying issues was that the main problem was state advisors who advised, state officials who advised the Adams family did not understand the rule of law as it pertained to the live performance tax credits and assumed that most of the tax credits would also be applied similarly, because they were done in the same intent as the film. As such, when Adams family was later going down the line in the application process when it comes to stage 3, it finally became aware that they would be forced to file individual tax returns. The LDR never disseminated that information across other parties, which would have allowed, which could have allowed them to restructure their LLC as a corporation instead of a partnership. So, from our recommendations, we understand that the state officials need to do a better understanding of the specific nuances of the live performance versus the film tax credits, and emphasize and highlight those problems to new productions that they're trying to attract. Also, they need to lobby, the city and New Orleans Mayor's Office needs to lobby towards more communication amongst other state officials so that they can try to affect change much quicker. And the funny thing at the end of the day is, after evaluating being so focused on the Adams Family production and it being a musical, from doing an industry analysis, is that the Mayor's Office should actually probably focus their attention more on touring concerts as opposed to musicals, because there's such more market opportunity in that area.